So there was this party that never happened. It was supposed to be the biggest party of the year with the hottest celebrities and supermodels in attendance, but it didn't happen. It all started when two friends, Billy McFarland and Jay Rule, decided to throw a music festival called Fyre Festival on an island in the Bahamas. They wanted it to be the biggest party of the year, so they invited all of the hottest celebrities and influencers. People were excited and everyone was looking forward to the party. But then it didn't happen. The festival was supposed to take place over 2 days on a private island in the Bahamas. It was going to feature some of the biggest names in music, including Blink-182, Migos, Disclosure, and yes, even Ja Rule himself. But as the day of the festival approached, things started to go wrong. First, the headliners canceled one by one. Then the venue changed. And finally, when people arrived at the island, they found that there was no sign of the festival or any of the celebrities who were supposed to be there. So where did all the money go? Well, that's a good question. See, the thing is, the whole festival was a scam. It turns out that McFarland and his company, Fyre Media, had been lying about everything. The private island wasn't really private. It was just a public beach. The headliners weren't really headlining. They'd never even been booked. And the whole thing was nothing more than a giant fraud. As it turns out, McFarland had been running this same scam for years. He'd created fake companies and fake events, and then sold tickets to people who had no idea they were being scammed. In fact, he'd even been arrested in 2017 on fraud charges, but he'd managed to avoid jail time by pleading guilty to a lesser charge. But eventually he was caught and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Now, while this story might seem like a cautionary tale about believing everything you see on social media, it's actually much more than that. It's a story about how easy it is to get caught up in the hype and how important it is to do your own research. After all, if they'd only done that, maybe these people wouldn't have lost so much money. So here are some lessons you can learn from the Fyre Festival and how to avoid getting scammed like these people did. Lesson number 1. Don't believe everything you see on social media. The Fyre Festival was promoted heavily on Instagram and Snapchat, but that doesn't mean it was real. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. In this case, a luxurious music festival on a private island for only $120 seemed too good to be true, and it was. Lesson number 2. Do your own research. If you're not sure whether something is legit, do your research before you buy tickets or make any other plans. For example, you could have Googled the Fyre Festival to see if it was legit before buying tickets. You could also check reviews from other people who have attended the festival in the past. Lesson number 3. Be wary of deals that seem too good to be true. The Fyre Festival was advertised as the hottest party of the year with the hottest celebrities in attendance. But that doesn't mean it was real. Just because something is advertised as the best deal around doesn't mean it is. Be wary of deals that seem too good to be true and always do your research before making any decisions. Lesson number 4. Read the fine print. Before you book anything or buy anything, always read the fine print. This is especially important when booking travel or buying tickets to an event. The fine print often contains important information about cancellations, refunds, and other important details. In the case of the Fyre Festival, many people didn't bother to read the fine print when purchasing their tickets. This meant that they were unable to get refunds when the festival was canceled. Lesson number 5. Trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Trust your gut feeling and walk away from the deal. This is especially important when dealing with people you don't know. In the case of the Fyre Festival, many people had a bad feeling about the event, but they ignored their gut and went ahead with it anyway. Lesson number 6, don't be afraid to walk away. If something doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to walk away from the deal. This is especially important when dealing with people you don't know. In the case of the Fyre Festival, many people were afraid of missing out on what could have been the party of the year. This meant that they stuck with the festival even though they had doubts about it. Lesson number 7, protect yourself financially. When booking travel or buying tickets to an event, Always use a credit card rather than cash or debit. This way, you have some recourse if something goes wrong. In the case of the Fyre Festival, many people paid for their tickets with cash or debit. This meant that they were out of luck when the festival was canceled. Lesson number 8. Don't rely on others to bail you out. If something goes wrong, you are responsible for getting yourself out of it. In the case of the Fyre Festival, many people relied on the organizers to bail them out when the event was canceled. This meant that they were left stranded in the Bahamas with no money and no way to get home. Lesson number 9. Don't be embarrassed to ask for help. If you're in a difficult situation, don't be embarrassed to ask for help. In the case of the Fyre Festival, many people were too embarrassed to ask for help when they realized they'd been scammed. This meant that they suffered in silence when they could have gotten help. And lesson number 10, learn from your mistakes and move on. Once you've learned from your mistake, it's time to move on. Don't let this experience define you or hold you back from enjoying your life. In the case of the Fyre Festival, many people allowed the experience to ruin their lives. They lost their jobs, their relationships, and their homes. But it's time to move on and focus on the future. The Fyre Festival was a huge disappointment, but it was also a learning experience. Hopefully these 10 lessons will help you avoid making the same mistakes. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. This was a crazy story, so make sure to watch my other videos about crazy business scams. One of my most popular videos is about WeWork, the most valuable startup that almost ruined itself. I also have a whole series called Crazy Business Stories, which covers a wide variety of topics. I'm also working on a new video right now about the Silicon Valley Bank thing, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.